Hello, and welcome to what is mostly a personal log for myself, as I've been playing this character, Eric Morgue, for an extraordinarily long time now. I have saves going back. These aren't labelled. I have saves going all the way back to 2021 with this character, as I have basically used him as a quick and easy way to jump back into Fallout 4 since 2021. And slowly but surely I have chipped away at the vast majority of the settlements in the game. I've at least made a start on all of them, but unfortunately have not finished all of them. However, the game is rapidly becoming more buggy as I get further and further into my playtime, and multiple mods, including my salvage beacons, have begun to stop working, so I think it is time to move on. I've had a lot of fun playing Eric, but I'm also quite looking forward to jumping back into the game now that I think I can do better with a lot of my settlements. But some of them I want a record of. Some of them I think are pretty cool. Sanctuary is not one of them, but where else would we start? Also, to get introductions out of the way, this is Water Tank. He carries water because I need caps, and you know dog meat. Sanctuary was, it's one of the ones that it's the big one that is usually a pain in the ass. We have a sign here, we have a flag over there. Now, the notable thing that I did that a lot of people don't do is I left the ruined buildings intact. At the time, I didn't particularly want to do like big structures that weren't part of the settlements. Pre-existing stuff. So we have a little guard tower here that is meant to be the entrance, because I also didn't want to push my luck too much with what I included, so I didn't want to do big junk walls or anything. The end result, however, is that Sanctuary's a bit lackluster. Is this Marcy? No, this is just a regular settler. I'm pretty sure that staircase there is because some settlers will teleport to that roof. I do quite like this guard tower. I was quite chuffed with myself with this. That could be lined up a little bit better, but I don't know. I think that's kind of neat. I really like the construction scaffolding look. I like Water Tank. But Sanctuary definitely could be more fleshed out because the end result is it looks quite barren despite that. Despite having 24 people in it, it really doesn't feel like it. Marcy was assigned to combat duty to get all of those issues out of her system. And yeah, the issue is because both my own character... What are you doing? Hang on, we're taking a quick sidebar. So, next bit of the tour is this shack that I built on top of Sanctuary, where Mama Murphy's chair is. Now, by the existence of Mama Murphy's chair, she should be sat in it, which begs the question, why is she hammering at the walls? We also come to what is sort of one of the big issues with a lot of my settlements, in that the bedding situation is very Spartan bunks. End table's placed at a weird angle in this particular case. Yeah, so my player character, Preston Garvey, and Sturges have all been moved out of the settlement, the other two being at the castle, which means a lot of the notable characters that lived in Sanctuary have been removed, except Marcy, of course. In fact, even the Vault Tech rep used to work here, but he no longer does. This is a shop piece from a mod that restores a bunch of items from Fallout 3, which is why it looks like that, and I use these a few times. Nice little kitchen over here. A bathroom that I left untouched because I understood that the idea of the settlers need a bathroom. But, come on, I could have at least put a door here. And Marcy and her husband, whose name is escaping me, his beds. He's around here somewhere still. And similarly, in my case, this used to be my player home. Doghouse is still here. However, once I moved to my player home, which I'm far more proud of, I sort of gutted this place. But I still did it up to look somewhat livable. I'm not sure why I put a comm operator in the front, but the idea was it was meant to still feel like a home. This bed's nice. That used to have my armor on it. It's really creepy. I'm not sure why I set it up like that. And a workshop in the back, which is, if nothing else, somewhat decently decorated. And Sean's crib. Well, we left it in there because, it's kind of... Look, it would be rough as the sole survivor to dismantle that for parts. And this character was a stealth sniper. Eric was never meant to really be a leading man type, but the Minutemen are very insistent. But I do collect the power armors, and I leave them around as I find them. The entire settlement's power is all done by a lot of those. And in here we have one of the shops, a clothing shop, again using that Fallout 3 style point of service. Very Spartan living conditions. There's things that I want to improve with the new character, which will require new mods. What are you doing here? Obviously, this is the Brahmin's room. They have 2 beds because look at them. And we can sort of see another thing with this playthrough. Interesting choice to force you to go through the bathroom, but I digress. For a long time, I didn't want to use place anywhere, so all of these are placed with as much in-game finagling as possible instead of... Oh god, imagine trying to sleep there. Oh, that's awful. Okay, things to improve, things to improve. Okay. And this is a general store. Oh, that's actually not bad. I should have done that more. Again, the Fallout 3 style containers, point of sale. And honestly, probably the most decorated probably the most decorated bedroom in this place. This house is apparently undecorated. I should have done more with the house. Like, if I wasn't going to build new structures, I at least should have made all the houses fully decorated. I definitely have gone past the settlement limit here at least a few times, though, so I don't know. Another example of the game falling apart, as you can see, this is no longer healing my radiation. Also, sleeping does not cure my tiredness. This is a doctor's office. This is done with the... Oh, I can't name of the mod again. It's the second time I'm recording this because the audio in the first version was terrible. Thematic and Practical, which I use excessively. I love these shop fronts. And Northland Diggers I use a lot to give the settlers something to do with the little custom workbenches, which we'll find some around. You're a barber, I believe. We have a little chair here and a TV for people waiting for a haircut. And in the back, we have a surgery. And a bed for the surgeon. And a bed for the barber. And a bed for the doctor. So we can sort of see that there's some ideas here that I quite like. It's just they're all quite underdeveloped, especially here in Sanctuary. And this is the farmland. I quite enjoy building raised farming. And an artillery thing to fill this space because it's fine. It's not great. We're also going to cover Red Rocket and Abernathy in one because they are all in walking distance of each other. And there's nothing to say with Abernathy because it's one of the ones that I unfortunately didn't get to. But we'll talk about the ideas I had for it when we get there. Red Rocket is similarly... There's some interesting ideas, but they're not particularly well developed. Don't mind me just running all the way through here to push this button. Because the one idea I do particularly like is this shop front that I built into the garage door. I think that's a pretty neat idea, and we can see a lot of this is sort of one of the more decorated things that I did to make it feel lived in. Obviously, this doesn't really work because as soon as the door shuts, he still stands there, but it's an okay idea. We put a big guard defense over here, and then I think if I spin the camera around, a shame. If I run around the front. I slapped a Minuteman flag on the Nuka World side. The idea being that, Sanctuary is meant to be one of the great Minutemen fortresses. In my case, maybe not so much. And that means Red Rocket is the first line of defense if anyone wants to come and pick a fight with Sanctuary. This thing is a big bunkhouse, mostly. It's where all the settlers live in underwhelming conditions. At least they have little separate spaces in this one. Poison Ivy sleeps there, I think. And amusingly, this works somehow. I really wouldn't have thought it. But she can path up there to be a guard, so this all works, which is quite cool. And then we get into the really bad bit of how I do beds. I want to change this for my next playthrough, but this isn't inherently a settlement that I want to make a record of, but I want to get a record of all of them. So we're going to cover these three, then I'm mostly going to prioritise the interesting ones, and I'll put the less exciting ones in a compilation, probably. Garden on the roof. Get this a lot. I could have built something... I can build something bigger next time on the roof of Red Rocket. I know that's quite popular with settlement builds for the truck stop. And as we run over to Abernathy, we will see that, unfortunately, I didn't get to do anything. I had ideas though. My thought basically was, I wanted to sort of expand on the idea that the Abernathys had really been wronged by raiders. I believe it's been a while, but I'm pretty sure the lore is that their daughter was killed. So the idea was I wanted to build a wall around the whole place, and I'd put a huge trap at the front. The idea being that raiders could come in, get caught in the defenses, and then I'd use the workshop DLC cages. And the idea is the Abernathys basically would sort of run a raider prison. Ethical? Probably not. But unfortunately, I didn't really get to do any of that, except I hooked up a fusion core generator here for some reason, purely to arm 2 whole laser turrets. Interesting choices. But yes, that is the start of these. These aren't particularly because I think these builds are impressive. This is mostly just because I've been playing this character for a very long time, and I'm going to have to completely wipe the game if I want to fix things. So I don't want to get rid of all of that. So yeah, end transmission.